honest opinion, the first time you ever drank coffee, you were like, what was your reaction? Was it like, this is tasty?
Nasty.
Or was it like, this is nasty?
Yeah.
And then you drank it until you were okay with it?
Yeah.
Which, former or latter? Scott?
I don't drink coffee. Is it weird that I'll drink Guinness but not coffee? And dark beer and stouts and stuff like that?
It's the same
Guinness
concept.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's the same analogy for
It is.
beer.
It
Most
is
people are like, the
exactly
first time you drink beer, you ask my dad that, though? He's like, no. I was 10 years old. My stepfather gave it to me, and I just loved it.
Well, I can get on board with that guy. But, like, so the first time you drank coffee, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think that I didn't like love it, but I also didn't drink it like black, like the most bitter kind of coffee the first time I tried it. Right. I'm loading it up with sugar and cream and like.
What about you,
okay.
Billy?
Coffee?
Did you love coffee the first time you drank
No, I hated it. And I have to get it frozen, blended with tons of sugar.
The
So
Frappuccino.
basically, you're drinking dark sugar water. Kick it off.
Welcome back to episode 17 of the Catchmark Sportsnet podcast. I'm your host Zach Swagel, joined here by my co-host Scott DeVamp
Thank you, Zach.
and Brent Rath.
What up?
Today we have a special guest, a colleague of all of ours, a member of Catchmark's team himself, Mr. Tim Stout. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Got a
Thank
quick
you.
question before we
For
kick
sure.
this off.
Go ahead. Take it over.
Are vampires supposed to bleed?
They can bleed.
Okay.
They just heal.
Have you ever seen how you
Fast.
get turned into a vampire? You get bit, but then usually they drink some of the vampire's blood, so they can bleed.
That's
you-
true.
'Cause you heard about
Unless
my,
there's a wooden stake involved.
you heard about my big injury over the weekend.
Yeah, Scott almost.
Do you want me to show
pulled
you the
it.
picture
No,
on here or no?
not anymore.
You
Okay.
guessed
Scott
that
almost
he
pulled
got
his
ran
toe.
over by a semi truck. By the way, this guy's acting.
Guys are babies when it comes to that, aren't they?
Yeah, I am.
When they're
not-
sick and when
Dude,
they have a
I
little neck or
died
something.
and came back to life.
I gotta remember what this is called. A ring, like.
Do you want me to put the picture on the podcast?
Of his
Yeah.
toe? I don't know if viewers need to see that. His toe is pretty ugly.
I never
In
saw
Yeah,
general.
he showed
You
me.
should see it. It's disgusting.
Oh, nice.
So Scott ventured into the garage. It's called a ring avulsion. That's what it's called. It happens when a ring on one of your fingers is caught on an object. It gets yanked off suddenly and rapidly. The force and the pressure of the ring being pulled can strip off and damage finger tissues, including muscles, tendons, and bones. This is called degloving. So basically,
I
the
didn't have
I don't
idea
know
is
about all that.
basically when you're done, all you have is a bone sticking out.
It wasn't like that. I don't wear toe rings, by the way, either.
Well, but I was thinking your
might.
toe got caught on the bike
might have gotten
in
caught
a
in
way that it
spokes or
could
something.
do something similar. So that's what I was thinking when you
Yep.
first did it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
But-
ugly.
he's limping
sorry,
around the
though.
office.
I'm glad you're okay.
He made it.
He'll limp for the next 3 weeks. It'll be fine.
I gotta milk this thing.
I can't. I did too. I milked my COVID last week. I'm kidding. I almost died.
So I watched a Joe Rogan episode, and the doctor, I agreed with a whole bunch he
What?
said.
That's pretty controversial just to come right out and say that these days.
Why? Because he talks about stuff. Anyways, so the doctor really, really, really like, and he told you about it. Like, that's one thing I didn't like about the guy. He's just like, I'm bored. I'm published and most published. And I'm like, okay, dude, we get it. But he basically was the opinion that you can't get COVID twice. And so that is the one thing he said of all the stuff he said. I'm like, I just don't. And Rogan, you can tell, didn't agree with him. He's like, I got friends that had it and had it again. So I don't know.
Well, I just think.
Did you feel like you didn't get it twice, Zach?
No, I felt like I got it twice.
Yeah. That's,
100%.
Twice at one time?
Yeah, but I will say that that it was different both times. Like
Yeah.
there was differences, you know.
yeah.
Like it was very. I mean, it's just a virus. It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I want to
glad
be
you
careful
made
with
it.
all this.
You're a double survivor.
I'm good to go.
You're here with us.
Golden.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even coughing or hooking.
On my favorite day of the year, boys.
The question I have, he's going to get mad at me when I ask this. Did you stop vaping?
Yeah.
You did not.
No, I swear.
So proud of you.
I'm currently using a Can we talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely. This is
I'm currently using a nicotine-less vape to kind of rehab
wean
the
yourself
habit.
off the nicotine.
Yeah, I haven't had any nicotine though, so
How's
yeah.
that been going?
It's hard. It was hard. I'll tell you what, being sick made it easier. Because number one,
Yeah.
you feel horrible anyway. Number two, vaping would make your symptoms worse.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that's how the last couple times I've quit, because you can quit as many times as you want. We have been when I've been sick. It's easy to do.
good.
So yeah, I'm doing all right.
So back in the office on V-Day.
Yep. Love this day, man.
Zach is, for all of you guys out there that don't know this, Zach is his favorite movie type is romantic comedies.
That's a little much.
So
I
think
can't
you
stand
know
how
what you-
Kara's. I just look out and Kara's like laughing. Like she can't. She thinks it's so funny to pick on me.
That's because Kara's a different chick, man. I don't
Yeah,
know
she's a
how to
different
explain
breed.
it.
She's married to you, dude. She's
That
gotta-
is true. That's first off. To stay with this guy for 20 years is that takes a different type of person.
It's true.
So,
He's the only one wearing red, by the way.
he
Yeah.
is. He's all Valentine.
I don't know. It's not that hard.
Who's your Valentine, Zach?
Valentine's.
I bet you when he was
I
in elementary,
love it.
Plural.
He had the box just
he
stuffed with
Hey.
candy
in
and
elementary,
everything.
yeah.
Aside from my mother, I did send out a bouquet or two today.
Did you?
Yeah. That's
You did,
You
Scott.
didn't. You won't either. I promise. No, I love Valentine's Day. I think it's a great way to show the people you care about that you love them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sweet. So what did you do, Scott, for your wife on Valentine's Day?
It's not over yet.
Yeah.
So you get
Scott's
touche, Scott.
Scott's
Oh, no,
the.
wait. Let me backtrack. I got her washer and dryer.
Sweet. Just what every girl wants
we
on
hooked it up.
Valentine's
What a
Day.
nice
Hooked it up
guy.
yesterday. We're all set.
I think-
it almost cost me my toe, but it's hooked up now.
I think
So
we're
I
in
hope
the
she appreciates it.
we're in
So
the market
worth
for a
it.
new dryer. Ours is not heating up anymore, so and it's at that like
That's not
14
good.
year mark.
That's an important part.
Yeah, we will be buried in laundry in about 4 hours if that thing's not.
Women
going.
frown on that too, right? When you get them appliances and vacuums and stuff for.
You've been
Valentine's
married
Day.
for way too long to be asking that question. Billy,
Oh,
what'd
it was
you get your wife
rhetorical.
for Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day isn't over yet.
That's
You guys are
shitty.
all
Tim?
like.
I sent my wife a text message telling her that I loved her.
There you go.
Was it a poem, Tim? Did you send her a text?
Nothing
A haiku?
rhymed, nothing rhymed.
Little roses are red, violets are
And
blue.
there's a
Like,
little
I love
heart
you,
at the end
baby.
of it.
No, I think it's different. It's different for everybody. I don't. My biggest issue with everybody's opinion is like I don't think you should dog on Valentine's Day. You don't have to love it. You don't have to celebrate
Yeah.
it. Like to each their own. But don't dog on people that love it.
Does Montague Foods sell flowers? Or
They
not?
do. There's lots
All
of
right.
them there.
Because I might have to stop over there at lunch.
They're not in the best shape right now,
Yeah.
and like you're getting the bottom of the barrel, but
They're also expensive. I'm sure they're more
they're
expensive.
expensive. Yeah, flowers nowadays are always expensive. It's
They are.
crazy. Like I think I'm in the wrong business.
Tea stout. We got to touch a little bit on how you develop such a crazy passion for sports in general. And I want to touch on your officiating too. You officiate football for sure, and I think you're registered basketball as well.
I do. I am registered in basketball.
Yep.
Right now, I have no desire to do basketball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I've always wanted to be an official. And a couple years ago, I took the steps of registering and then freeing up some time in the fall. And this past fall was the first time that I had a full schedule, and it was a blast. Had just a ton of fun being out there with the other officials, and then kind of getting to know the coaches a little bit better, and being out there with the players. Just always wanted to be a part of high school sports, and just a passion of mine. So it's something I really enjoy.
Tim's a glutton for punishment. He likes to get abused,
Yeah.
apparently.
One
Yeah,
thing I did
right.
notice, I mentioned, I sent a couple texts to, I think it was like the Ravenna Whitehall game, because I thought things were getting a little out of control. But then I did notice you posted, I don't think it was obviously
Homer.
at me. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We're all homers a little
You
bit.
gotta be a
I
little-
know, but you got to say it when you get a chance.
You do. So
yeah, you have to be.
anyhow,
A little
you
bit.
posted something last week, I think it was, about officiating. It made me think, because it's so easy to criticize when you're sitting there, but do something about it. If you don't like it, do
Right.
something about it.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Go officiate.
Yeah,
Right.
that's every time I hear somebody complaining about it, that's the first thing I think of. And don't get me wrong, when I'm sitting in the gym being a fan, I'm not crazy about officials either. It's just given me a different perception. At times I catch myself not yelling or saying something that I probably shouldn't, just because at times I'm that person out there, and listening to people yell at me isn't tons of fun. So,
What's the worst officiated game you've ever seen, Tim?
Hopefully not one you were part of. Like you were officiating
right,
yourself.
yeah, the ones I've been a part of have been really good.
That's good.
I don't know, Brent. That's a good question.
I figured you'd say Michigan State this year when everybody's complaining about.
Are we
some
talking
stuff.
like professional?
No, any of them.
No, I mean there's been some questionable high school ones that I've seen this year. None that really jump to the top of my brain or the front of my brain, but it's just a struggle all around. I mean, the sport's hurting for officials.
Yeah.
We're going to get in a position where there's going to be a serious lack of officials if some other people don't step up.
Do you think they'll go back to, like, for basketball, like 2 officials?
They might have to.
I was
And
just thinking, because I mean that's how it was when we were in school. So
Yeah. But yeah, there's certainly officials are human and they're going to make mistakes. I think about the Montague Whitehall game last week, and for that official to blow that whistle on Isaiah, in the middle of the fourth quarter in a close game, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm glad that wasn't me who blew that.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't the right call or the wrong call. It's just like, oh wow,
yeah, you don't want them to have an impact.
It's
on
the
game.
timing, right? It's a tough one, but
I
I really do enjoy it. I'm hoping that I can get some of my other friends and some younger people into it. It's one of the things I want to push. My kids as they're done with athletics and are moving on with their lives to get themselves and some of their buddies involved in it too.
Yeah.
So.
How did you?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I was just going to say how different each sport is to officiate. Because I
Yeah.
watch a lot of college basketball too, and it seems like the game can turn on that in an instant. Like maybe, they seem like they're swallowing the whistles on one end and they're calling touch stuff on the other. And maybe it's not. Maybe that's a fan's perspective. Like I was watching like Maryland Purdue yesterday. And it seemed like the game turned on a couple of calls that way. But again, I don't think it's ever. I don't know. Does that play into it, or do you think that? I mean, they always say the best officials are the ones you don't notice, but
Yeah, I mean, I often wonder the same thing. I mean, because we can all sit there and watch the same basketball game, and on one end,
Come out with
it feels like it's a football game, and on the other end, there's ticky-tack stuff being called. And because I've never done basketball, I don't know what that pressure is like. Again, I'll go back to the Montague Whitehall game last week where packed gym, good game, rivalry game. Like I try and put myself in that position and just try and make the best call possible. Football's a little bit different. You're further away from the fans. You just have a little bit more space. The people aren't right on top of you, but there's a huge area that you have to pay attention to as well. So the question is a good one, Scott. I don't know. And I've never met an official who on the way to the game told me, man, I really want to be a part of the outcome of this game. I mean, for the most part, we have a pregame, the crew that I was on for football this year, we had a pregame slogan, and it was nothing dumb, right? Like we didn't want to call anything stupid. We wanted to get in there, get out, and get home to our families, and that was it. We never said, hey, let's make this game last 4 hours and let's make this team win. It's like,
well, there's guys like in the college game and maybe even the pro game that maybe get a reputation. Like in the big, Bo Borowski does a lot of Big Ten games, and a lot of fans just can't stand him. They see him show up at for a game like, oh no, because they think he kind of like Valentine when Valentine's Day, Ted Valentine, and then Ed Hightower. The old guys who did Big Ten games. People thought that, oh man, he's going to ruin the game now. It's going to suck because he's calling the game. So.
Yeah, maybe as you've been a part of it for all these years, you grow to want to be part of the outcome or be part of the game. Maybe not necessarily the outcome, but you definitely want to be noticed or something like that. Me, I'd rather not be noticed.
Yeah,
I just
fly under the radar.
I'm just there to help with the game, be a part of it. At the end of the day, it's just for me, it's being a part of it and helping the kids have something that they can do.
What's the worst thing a fan ever said to you, Tim?
Can't repeat that.
Right.
He can bleep it out. We just had a bunch of
Right.
gangster rappers on Super Bowl halftime show. We
We're
made
getting to
that.
that.
We made that
Don't,
PC.
Don't touch on it yet.
I wouldn't say it's one thing that anybody said, and like I said, I've only got 1 year of experience, but there was got roped into doing some youth football games over at Grant this past fall, and there was a couple guys from Ravenna who
Oh no!
who
I wasn't there.
who would not keep their mouth shut, and I won't say what they were saying, but I eventually turned around and offered them to come down and told them that I had an extra whistle and hat in my car and they could come on out here if they wanted. I mean, I had only been there for 9 hours, so if they wanted to come
Yeah.
out for a couple hours,
You're
it,
welcome.
I'd react the same way. In fact, I think I've officiated youth football way back when, and you get to that point where it's like, yeah, come on
That's
out.
hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You
the
take-
pay's
you
so
do it.
good.
Yeah,
so,
right.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so lucrative. Tim's driving his Tesla out there.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah,
Must be nice.
yeah.
MHSA.
And I mean, just the 1 year experience. I have done middle school for 2 years now, but the youth sports tend to be the worst too. And I think
that's crazy.
I think people say that quite a bit. It's the parents at the youth level. As the kids grow up, it seems like the parents kind of chill out a little bit. And once you get into middle school, then high school, you hear less and less of that. But a lot of times on Saturdays at the youth level, parents think their kids are all going to be the next Joe Burrow.
They
And
get a
if you're
little-
not making the calls
a
their
little
way, they're
chippy.
gonna let you know about it.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's right. The last question about officiating: how did you get into this? Where do you start? You want to be an official? How do you what's the path you got to take?
It started with me just because I have a passion for high school athletics, and I realized that there was a shortage. At times in my life, I enjoy exercise. I thought it would be a good way to get some extra exercise, running around and stay moving. And so you can register on the MHSA website. You pay annual dues, and then there's some rules meetings you have to attend and some online trainings that you have to attend.
Fairly simple process. Though,
Fairly
overall.
simple process. I had a gentleman by the name of Chuck Hulse who kind of took me under his wing when he heard that I was interested, and he's helped me out quite a bit. He was the one who kind of helped get me on the crew that I was on last year, and I'll be working on his crew this fall on the football field, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, certainly having some guidance from somebody who's been there. I mean, this will be Chuck's 50th year officiating football, so he's got a lot of knowledge and knows
He
how
sure
it
does,
works.
man.
So yeah, pretty simple process.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Just just for anybody that was interested, they definitely need the officials right now. Before we get into some Super Bowl talk, I want to touch a little bit on.
Can I ask Tim a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you get paid? Like, how much is it per game? I don't think a lot of people understand.
Yeah, so it is the different levels paid differently,
Right.
and then I believe different conferences might even pay differently as well. The majority of the stuff that we worked last year were WMC and then the Lakes 8 conference. So a middle school game is typically $50.
Okay.
A JV game might be $50, $55, $60, and then varsity games are typically around 70, 75. But yeah, tons of money.
Yeah,
You
tons
know?
of money.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah, no,
And
right.
If you wanted to do it every day,
Yeah, and you can fill up your schedule, especially with basketball, man. If you really wanted to
Make some cash.
make a little
Yeah.
bit of side money, you could between girls basketball, boys basketball.
might be
Youth
some driving
stuff.
involved. but-
Yeah, right. And that was one of the cool parts too. It seemed the officials seemed to carpool a lot.
Yeah.
So the four of us would meet up. We'd have an hour in the car, and you just kind of build those relationships, which is valuable to me too, because
Yeah,
I enjoy building those relationships.
Speaking of building relationships, we talked about being a homer for your own city, for your own school, for your own alma mater earlier. How difficult is it, or how easy is it living in a town or an area where there's two cities that are so competitive all the time? And I bring this up with you, Tim, because I think that you're one of those very few people that like truly does have a passion and a love for both communities, for both Montague and Whitehall. And you know, how do you balance that out? Who do you root for when they go head to head when you don't have a kid on the team? And I mean, how does that work out? How does that break down?
I don't know. There's a lot of people have asked me that over the years.
For sure.
And obviously, I went to school and graduated for Montague, and we all kind of have that special place in our heart for where we grew up and where we graduated from. My kids have been heavily involved at Whitehall, so that's been it's been a good change for me. It is hard. I mean, I do appreciate both school districts. I have good friends that teach and coach at both school districts, and I just enjoy helping them out wherever I can.
Yeah.
You know, I had the opportunity to help Pat out with the football program at Montague for years, and I've had the opportunity to help Nate, Artema, and Christian out with the basketball program, which has been great. It's helped me see both sides. At the end of the day, I don't really have that. I mean, I have a rooting interest for the teams that my kids play for and the teams that I'm helping out. You know, I'll use the example, Gentry and we went to the Montague Whitehall girls basketball game, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
I didn't really have much of a rooting interest for Whitehall girls. Not that I was rooting against them, but my niece played for Montague. So if anybody saw me clapping during the game, it was probably when my niece scored a bucket, you know, or grabbed a rebound. So it's just little things like that, and it's not like I root for one over the other. It's specifically the sports that I help out with when they play each other. Those days are pretty hard.
Yeah.
You got to watch what you're saying. You got to watch what you're tweeting and putting on social media because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But it is. I do. I enjoy both school districts. They've been good to me. They've been good to my kids. So I'll continue to support them.
Absolutely. Brent, what do you have to say about this?
About what?
As somebody that's such a homer, I just want to know.
I'm not a homer. I
Kinda.
love Montague. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I'm a fence rider when it comes to. I'm a weird guy with that. Like I always found it odd that, like for example, I'll get into it with Michigan. Tim knows this. Michigan State rivalry. I'm all in with my Sparties, right? But at the same time, I was hoping Michigan went deep.
Right.
When they got in the playoffs, I was hoping they won. I mean, like I'm different like that, I think. And my wife like put it in perspective the first time she ever came home with me, right? And I think we came in through Whitehall and we drove across the causeway. I'm like, we're in Montague now, and she goes, what? And I'm like, we're in Montague, and she's like, you know you're all crazy, right? And I said, what do you mean? And she's like, this is the same town. And I said, no, it's
You
not.
don't
No,
understand.
you don't understand.
Right.
You know, now she's lived here for a while. I think she's definitely got her roots in one area or another. But like Tim said, I mean, there's so many people. Like I always tease Jim Tembrink, right? Like Jim, all his kids go to Whitehall now, and you know, like he'd always tease me when we first moved back because we moved to Montague, and he's like, "Yeah, you're drinking the Kool-Aid over there," and like, and I'd always like to remind him that like in '92, Jim, you were the O on your chest, your bare chest in the freezing cold for Montague. You're not too far removed from that, right?
You
Like,
were the O.
so, but I think when you grow up, right? Like, I mean, you know, half the guys I played sports with or went to school with are at Whitehall, and then there's guys that we competed against that were from Whitehall that are now at Montague, and you get away to college, and all these folks that you looked at as rivals become some of your best friends. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Is how it goes, and it's hard to tell kids that now.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. Like, oh, I'm never going to be friends with that guy, and you're like, no, you will, you will, because there's a common bond there.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are very similar, but it is fun to have the rivalry too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not rooting against Whitehall. Like,
Sure. Yeah,
You
that
know.
makes sense. Neither am I. I feel like I'm fortunate in the regard of me having to, or I've been able to spend time at both schools, right? I went to Montague through like the middle of middle school after my 7th grade year, and then I finished my career out at Whitehall. But during that time, I obviously made a lot of friends at both sides of the bridge.
Yeah.
And I will be the first person to tell you that I think that the cultures are slightly different, but I do think that they both have pros and cons.
Pros and cons,
you
yeah.
know. I don't know. It's just kind of a cool experience, and I don't know very many people that are like, like Tim, where I mean, like I don't even know. I couldn't tell you who he'd be rooting for unless his kid was on a team, kind of thing. It's just weird like that.
For me, it's a lot of fun. I mean,
It is.
I enjoyed going into Montague's gym last Thursday.
Oh, it was packed. It was great.
Jay Mulder's coming up to me. I'm wearing a Whitehall shirt. He's telling me I look better in blue. I catch the same stuff when I would go over to Whitehall's football field, and I'd be wearing a Montague shirt. Somebody tell me, "Oh, you look better in red." It's to me, it's fun. And it's I don't like I said, I don't dislike any of them. It's unfortunately you got to pull for one when they're playing each other, but other than that, for the most part, I root for all of them. And it's fun.
While we're on this topic, I have to make fun of somebody that I care about a great deal. I got a text from the game, so I'm sitting doing the scoreboard and running production, and it's from Jimmy, and it says "Big shares all in!" ! And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So then he sends me a picture of my mom. And my mom is
Big Share.
He's calling her Big Share. That's what Jimmy calls my mom. He's known me since we were little.
Yeah.
That's good.
My mom is sitting in the middle, like right on the edge of the Whitehall student section, and she's wearing a red and black flannel shirt. And
What a
I
legend.
said, Jimmy texts me, says, "I like to see your mom wearing the hood colors for a change. Love the support for Whitehall." Smiley face. So my mom got blasted when she got home. Everybody's like, "Grandma, what were you doing?" Like.
Yeah.
Wrong game to
So
wear
wrong game.
to
She's
wear the
like, "I was
flannel."
coming back from Aldi's. I didn't have another shirt." They're like, "Then you don't come to the game, Grandma." But,
It's funny, like even covering games, like as a sports writer, I always try to think about this. Okay, what are the colors of the schools playing? Don't wear either color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously,
it's
you
just
do
easier that
because
way.
people really do
Yeah.
point that out.
Yeah, that's hard to
Oh,
do
you
though.
know.
Like to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Especially when the colors are like somewhat neutral.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, which they all are. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Interesting stuff for sure. Tim has a son, 2 sons that play on Whitehall's basketball team, and we just talked a little bit about how he has an appreciation for high school athletics and for both Montague and Whitehall. Outside of a reporter or somebody who's seen every team play, you've had to have seen more basketball than anybody this year, or as much basketball as anybody. As far as varsity teams go, you keep up to date with scores and so on. Last week we talked about how our group here was going to pick out the top 5 best players in the conference, and I think that that's a tough task for anybody. But that was a commitment we made. So Scott,
Yeah, you cut me off last week. He's like, "This
That's
is
right.
good. This is good. Next session."
That's right. So we're gonna share our top 5, and if you can, if you could come up with your top 5. Obviously, you didn't have the notice that we did to pick
He's
these
got
out.
it. Don't act like he hasn't
But
had this
that would be
conversation
sweet.
somewhere at some point.
That'd be sweet for sure. But Brent, since Brent.
Oh, you're
putting
putting me right on the spot?
You're starting it off.
Oh goodness. All right, Joseph Hayes. I got to go with
From where?
Shelby.
Okay.
I got to go with Kyle Beebe from Ravenna. Cam Thompson from Whitehall.
Is
Who
this
is-
in order?
No,
Okay.
I'm not ranking them. You said just the top 5.
Okay. Also, are we doing top 5 or I think you said starting 5 actually?
Oh, starting 5. Yeah. So you're still there with me.
Okay.
I got Hayes at a guard. I got Beebe at a guard. I got Thompson at a small forward. Probably take Joseph at a center. Oh boy, that I'm probably going with Stein as a point guard. Honestly,
Really? So you're gonna have like 4 guards in Josa?
4 guards in Joseph. Yeah, kind of.
Kind of going Orchard
Can't
going
View.
for-
forward,
I'm
forward, though.
Cam, I'd say Cam's more of he's 6'4". He got. Do I need another big man if Cam's getting me 18 rebounds a game? I mean,
No, you don't. No, you don't.
so and I think Cam can play inside and out. So,
Yeah, you
yeah, I think boy, who'd I leave off there? McManus is that like he's pretty solid. I mean, like
This is where it
maybe
comes
him
down to
or
opinion
him
a
or
little
Tate.
bit.
I like Tate in that because I'm not saying top 5. I'm saying starting 5.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Tate can score, but he's not a shoot first point guard.
Right.
I think McManus is more of a scorer, and I actually think he plays more of like an off guard. So he's real close. If Parker Hovey was still playing, I think he'd be in there. I think
That's an important conversation too. We
Yeah.
should talk about that before everybody else picks.
goes. Yeah.
for
So yeah, I think, boy. Yeah, and I think that's where I'd leave it. I think that'd be a really tough starting 5 to contend with. To be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I get that. Real quick before we get into this, Parker Hovey, Hart's star player, one of the star players in the league, has decided to no longer be on the Hart Pirates boys varsity basketball team. Some of the reason and rationale behind it is a little bit unknown to us. Currently speaking, we just know that he's no longer playing with the team. Sad to see for whatever the reason may be. Great athlete, and from my interview experience, a nice kid too. So wish him all the best, and we're gonna miss seeing the competition because that kid's been putting up some serious numbers this year. With that being considered, let's try to establish our starting 5 without Hovey.
I think it's important to mention there was a couple other players that are off Hart's team too. Yeah, I believe Caleb Bitely, and I can't remember the last kid's name too. So, but yeah, who you going to next?
Let's go, Scott.
All right. Well, I'm gonna follow Brent in a lot of ways. I like Stein. While I like Stein, I think I got to swap McManus in there. In his
Yeah.
place. Like I'm going with.
Are there enough shots? So like,
Well,
like
that's the
well,
thing.
and
And who's a true point guard? Now, what do you say? What does Hayes play? Is Hayes a true point? He's kind of
no, he moves
can
around.
Play, he can play
can,
point, right?
but like,
What about BB?
I wouldn't call BB a point guard either.
Then Ravenna doesn't have a point guard, then, right? Because who's your point guard? Then?
I think Backlund or
I think
yeah,
Backlund.
he's more.
Yeah.
He plays kind of like a forward. Though.
That's like Cam brings the ball up for Whitehaw half the time. I think it's kind of the same.
the reason I pick again, it's not if you're asking me top 5,
This is from
McManus probably nips Tate. The reason I picked Tate is because I'm trying to think of the best 5 to start. I
Well, yeah,
don't know if there's
he's a
enough
pure point
shots.
guard.
I don't know if there's enough shots to go around
Yeah.
if you put McManus, BB, and Hayes all on that team,
I might
along
do
with
it, though.
you know, yeah, you might,
get it,
you might do it. So,
Yeah.
all right, go ahead, Scott.
Those
That's-
are the 5, though. I'm still gonna go with them anyway because I'm not a coach
Okay,
and I'd
so-
be a terrible coach. So that's what I'm going
So
with.
McManus,
I'm going with-
Hayes.
I'm going with Hayes. No particular order. Hayes, McManus, BB, Thompson, and Joseph.
Would Hovey be there if he was playing?
He might be in that number 5 spot instead
That's
of
what I
Joseph.
would do.
I might put him at point guard. All right.
That's well,
Fair. Tim, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
No, I can go. Joseph's an interesting one for me because I look and I see the stats. I've just never really seen him play to those stats.
To top 5.
Right. So when I think of
Yeah.
a top 5, now there's not tons of bigs in the conference, so he's really the only big. But I mean, I guess I think to me there's some clear cuts. I mean, BB's one. I would take Camden Thompson. I would take McManus, and I think I would take Tate Stein over Hayes. And
Really?
I mean, Hayes is really good. I think Tate is really good too, and I think you
His
like,
numbers just don't. Like,
his numbers don't match up. But I like what you're saying, Brent, that you need that point guard out there, and Red will kill me when I say that that there's not really that true one really good point guard, right? And I would say Tate's probably the closest. So if you're going with a starting 5, I'd throw Tate out there. I'd take McManus. I'd take BB. I'd take Camden Thompson. And
I know who you're not getting a Valentine's from in your own house.
and I guess I would take Joseph just for the size.
So to comment on that, both games against Montague this year, I don't think Ethan played great. Last year he killed us. He absolutely killed us. and he was a great player. I think it really definitely depends on who he's playing against. But he made the first matchup against us. He scored 16, and he made a lot of tough shots.
Yeah.
But he's a back to the basket, old school kind of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I like him for that.
Yeah,
think he's a tough
I
matchup.
say I've never really seen him live up to those stats.
Yeah.
Now, Whitehall's got him Friday. He'll probably go for 40.
Yeah, right. He'll join the
Yeah.
40
Right,
club.
Yeah, Weaver's been playing better too.
Yeah,
True.
he has. Yeah,
That's
Picking it
that's
up.
bold with the Hayes though. Like I understand what you're saying. Like watching him, it's
It's
the way he plays is a workmanlike.
yeah, it's
like,
not flashy, and you almost kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
Joe's
yeah,
Joe's a
nice.
great player. You know,
Yeah, he
he's
is.
great.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Interesting
So if
stuff.
we could do a top 6 or 7, that'd be a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah,
better.
he'd be in there.
Yeah. Yep. It's tough. I'm going to drop Joseph. I'm going to start out with that. I wouldn't, and the reason I'm doing that is because
You don't like bigs. We get it.
I do like bigs. I just don't think you need to be big to be the big. And Cam Thompson's kind of proved that this year. So I'm dropping Cam to I'm moving him out of taking the ball up the court altogether. If I'm coaching like a top 5 all-star.
You putting the ball in his hands?
No, I mean I'm putting him down low.
Oh, you are.
I'm just not. He's not going to play. There's no guard play involved. So that's how I'm replacing.
He is
Joseph.
tough down
Joseph's
low.
talented dude. I'm just taking. I mean, Cam's right up there by the rim. He's getting putbacks, boards. I mean, I'm just taking that kid. So Cam's going to be my number 5.
They're not mutually exclusive. You can have them both, right? You know that.
Can't. There's not enough room, man.
All right.
Got McManus.
You know,
got-
Tim Duncan and David Robinson played on the same team, right? Like,
Yeah, but different. We're talking different stuff. here,
okay.
man.
Keep
Talking
going,
different.
keep
It's
going.
just a little bit different. Kyle Beebe, Troy McManus, Joseph Hayes, Cam Thompson, and who's the 5? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm actually gonna take Grant Becklin.
really?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad pick.
Yep. I just think that he is.
You're gonna get run out of the gym with a tall team, though. You do know that, right?
I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances against your starting 5. I think that.
Who's guarding Josa in that? Is Cam?
Cam.
All right. Who's guarding Cam?
Nobody.
This is a great hypothetical, isn't it? You for a second, I saw the wheels going in Zach. He's like, "Oh crap!
There's
I got
nobody.
Cam's guarding Joseph, but who's gonna guard Cam
Well,
down low?"
I
Like,
think that I've seen Cam play enough now to where we've seen an Isaiah Ashton matchup last week.
Yeah, Isaiah
Who-
played him
who
tough,
was-
too.
Absolutely. I mean, it created a different type of adversity for Cam, in my opinion. Like
Wow, it's-
for the first time this year, he's got to play around somebody whose arms are like. and
yeah,
he
who's
did it.
physically better
The
than him.
kid did right.
Yeah.
the kid did it, but it was different. But that was enough to prove to me that he will find a way
To make a
score
difference.
on whoever's
Sure.
And he had
Right.
he was 3 of 17, I think he was.
Yeah,
in
he
the
didn't
game.
shoot the ball.
But he had
well.
15 points, a lot of them at the line. He had 18 rebounds. He's just so active.
I don't
Yeah.
care how you get your points, you get them, and that I think there's not enough emphasis. Everybody's got the emphasis on the 3 ball and the flash. The teams that win, they're workmen. Like I
Right.
mean, and that's what Cam had.
And I will say this about Whitehall: that what's impressed me about what those guys have done, what Christian's done, is obviously they got Cam back in the lineup, but it goes a lot deeper than that. Is everyone's playing their roles now? It feels like like Boley has embraced the role of being the lockdown guy.
I will agree with you on
You know,
that.
he made BB work for
Right.
whatever he got. You know,
They've embraced the role of no more technical fouls.
that helps.
6 games in a
true.
row. We
Yeah.
we celebrated after every
Did you
game.
really?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
This is game number X without a technical foul.
It's like your safety sign in,
Yep, yep.
in your shop. Like
While we're on the Christian Subden train, we do have a little preview for next week's podcast. Coach Subden will be joining us
Yeah.
right here. I think that he is a coach in the West Michigan Conference that people have some questions for. People want to know some things.
Are we gonna have call-ins?
We
I'm just
could.
kidding.
We could.
Just
This
kidding.
could be dangerous. No, it'll be a great opportunity to kind of pick his brain and see where he's at. He's got to know the answer to a few things he's been asking me about. He wants to know where his hairstyle rates among the head coaches.
He does not. Like,
dude, it's gonna be good.
oh my god.
So he'll be joining us next
All right,
week as well.
cool. So who's your 5th?
Grant Becklin.
Oh, Backlund. That's right. All right, sorry.
But it's tough. It's tough. It really is. I like Becklin. I think he's versatile enough to not score. Like he's okay with.
So the
just
tallest guy in your lineup is 6'4".
Yes.
What's Joseph? Is he like 6'6", 6'?
I don't think he's that big.
Joseph, yeah,
But I don't
6'5".
think- I think that you guys have a misconception
He's
about how
6'5".
big he is.
He's 6'5".
You really
6'5".
Yeah, I know
He's
he
probably
is.
6'5", 6'4", 6'5".
I think he's 6'3".
No, he's definitely taller than Cam.
That's
He's-
you believe in that Camden's 6'4".
I think Cam's about 6'3",
He's
Yeah.
probably
6'2", 6'3".
6'3" is what
Isaiah Atchison is all of 6'6".
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
and I don't think Joseph's that much smaller than Isaiah.
Really?
Yeah,
I just don't.
he doesn't look it though because he's
No, he doesn't.
he's
He's a big
thick.
dude, yeah.
He's a big dude. So like where Isaiah's 6'6" and he looks like he's about 6'8", I think Ethan's probably 6'5" and he looks like he's. I mean, Dan Meinert's all 6'5", and Dan
Yeah, that's
doesn't
true.
look tall.
Yeah,
like
Biggie,
Right.
Biggie doesn't look
yeah,
tall.
Biggie does. He's just because he's a big guy, right?
Right.
So
It's like me. I'm 6'4", and I don't look
yeah,
super
right.
All right. we're gonna end that conversation.
Oh
with
no, I was
you.
hoping to continue that.
No,
a little
you're
more.
done. You're from Urbana. You don't have a say anymore.
Man, I was gonna actually have you guys do my work for me. I was gonna take it one step further. Who's the best player? Who's the player of the year right now?
We can do
Oh
that
my
real quick.
Right
gosh,
now.
man! Right now,
Like who's number one?
That's
All
so
things
hard.
considered.
It's
Like-
easy. It's Camden Thompson.
You really think that? You can confidently say that.
I think Camden's the best player in the league. I think 9 games, 8 of them in conference play. I think he's overall the best kid.
I have a really hard time arguing
Homer.
that, but we'll see.
but I think you're right.
It's hard to argue.
I think it's hard to just. If you'd asked me this a week ago, I would have had a harder time with this because I would say I just came off of watching Joseph score 40, or not Joseph, but Joseph Hayes score 40. Shelby was kind of rolling, but now Shelby's dropped a couple. Whitehall's kind of just stayed the course, and Cam has gotten better and better.
It's kind of funny how the kids can kind of.
Yeah,
One-
but
the
the
up
way
and down
Cam,
version of it.
I kind of agree with Zach. The way Cam plays,
He's been consistent
he's like
overall, really.
yeah, like he is gonna get his 15 and 15.
Yeah,
like
and
you can take away the jump shots, you can take away everything else from him. It's his grit, and I feel the same way about Hayes. Hayes is gonna make an impact on the game,
Yeah.
but I just think Cam's is gonna be bigger, which is scary that we're talking about a friggin' freshman that's already there. But I'd take Cam too.
I will say though, I was impressed by Beebe what he did at North Muskegon.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
fact that
he's a
that's a
gamer,
tough
dude.
place to play.
yeah, and
He
I'm,
had 28. He had a big 3 at the end. 28,
He
9
had a
rebounds,
great
5
stat line.
assists, 4 steals,
Mhm.
something crazy like that.
I also think I love McManus. I love the way he plays. Like
Yeah.
I specifically watched him against Whitehall, and I mean he's got somebody face guarding him, and he's finding a way to score.
So if you had to pick a team, who's the first player you take out of the West Michigan
Right,
Conference?
right.
It's Cam Thompson.
It is.
I
It's
mean,
gotta
it's
be.
all day Cam for me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
I
not
can't
to.
believe that. Like I can't believe that's like unanimous. That just blows my
So
mind.
both
We're
of you
talking
guys
about a
think Cam
freshman.
too?
I think it's Cam. When if especially you phrase it that way, if you're
Yeah.
going to build a team, who are you starting with?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not just skills, because I would agree with you. I bet BB's one of the more skilled players in the conference. Like, it's skills, attitude, effort, like all of it.
Right.
Like I think Cam's tough, man.
Yeah, when you see what I like about Camden is the effort. He doesn't
Yeah.
care. He doesn't care how he gets his 15 to 20 points. It can be on
He
little.
doesn't
put-
even care if
it
it is
can-
15 or
right.
20. He just
It-
wants to win.
Right.
doesn't
He
know.
wants
I
to
don't think he
win.
knows.
Right.
I don't think he I don't think he could tell you at
Right.
halftime how many points.
Yeah,
it is.
I just like his effort. He's got a motor that keeps going, and he just understands the game. I mean, if you watch him play, when he shoots the ball, you can tell right away if it's a miss because you'll just watch. He runs to where he knows where the ball's going to go,
Come off
and
at
that's why he gets so many of those rebounds. Many of them are his own shots.
I liked how tough he played. Like he's not a thick kid, but like he get the ball in the post against Montague, and he is battling. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
is. I always used to talk about Brad Tate being 100 pounds and like playing like he's 200 pounds. Cam does that, I
Right.
think, and like
Yeah.
it's
What's he like as a kid? I mean, you've had him over. You've had him in your hot tub.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you've had him. He hangs out obviously with your son, and
He's their
Yeah.
neighbors.
What's your neighbor? What's he like?
Oh, Camden's a great kid. We first met Camden when he was 2 years old, maybe. Just a super nice kid. Obviously, he's always been very athletic, but just great kid. always, has a smile on his face. If you ask him to do something, I've coached him basketball and football for years. He never talks back to you. If you ask him for some effort, he's going to go give you effort. If you ask him to, he likes doing the little things. If you need somebody to kick off, he'll kick off. If you need somebody to run over here, he's just that type of kid. You just wish there was more of them. 'Cause like you said, Brent, he doesn't really care if he gets 15 or 20 points. As long as they get the win, that's really all he cares about. And it doesn't matter if he's the quarterback or the center or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I mean, as Brian Mott and I joked around for years during youth football, I mean, Camden would go in later in the games and we'd put him in at tackle or guard. And he loved it just as much as being running back or quarterback, because he got to go out there and help make some nice blocks for other people who were carrying the football. And it's just that's who Camden is he just wants to make other people around him better.
About a young man.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this previously, and I haven't heard information, otherwise. But I hope that he sticks with 3 sports. That he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times kids nowadays, I'm good at this. I'm going to do this. A kid like that, you'd love to see continue play because he's so good at the other ones too.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a good topic for next week.
Could be. Yeah. I'm looking at your list. Stafford is Scott's Valentine.
Yeah, we gotta get on. We gotta get on. Great talk about West Michigan Conference, though. That, by the way, guys, anybody that's listening, picking a starting 5 out of the group that we have, the team that we have
It's
right
tough.
now, insanely difficult. Obviously, things can change, but just an amazing talent in the West Michigan Conference. We got to move on to the Super Bowl a little bit. This Scott DeVant guy loves Matthew Stafford.
You guys blew this way out of proportion.
I didn't say anything about it.
Way out of proportion.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
No,
Scott, what do you love about Stafford?
I don't know if there's anything I do love about him. I think he's a good
Why
quarterback.
do you love him so much?
I don't know.
You do think he's a good quarterback? That's
I think he's good. I think he's a good quarterback.
Do you
I think
think-
he's tough.
Super Bowl champion quarterback.
That's
I
hard
think
to
it's tough.
argue. I like that. He's a Super Bowl champion.
What I don't like is when, and I'm going to call him out here,
Mhm.
healthy conflict. Josh Van Dyke goes on Twitter after the game. Congratulations to the Detroit Rams. It's like, you're a Packers fan. You have some success. Just because some Lions fans want to pull for some Stafford, go
You're
out.
fired
Is that
up.
This is
What?
what I wanted to touch on.
Is
Valentine's
that bad,
Day.
though? Is that a bad
No,
thing?
there are. Twitter was pretty on fire.
You're
with
a
it last
Dolphins
night.
fan.
No. Hey.
Keep going.
Okay,
I'm just
at
not
least the
really-
Dolphins have been there twice and are undefeated.
You weren't
There were a
alive
lot
when
of
they
Lions
were.
fans
You weren't
that-
alive when they were, but it's okay.
So you had Eminem at the halftime show, and you had Stafford as the quarterback. That's probably the closest the Lions are ever going to get to a Super Bowl.
That's
So is
Right.
it wrong, though, for people wanting Stafford to have some success after what he had to endure?
No,
He
that's
was a
commi-
scapegoat
he-
in Detroit.
I
for a
don't
lot
think
of the
you
time.
change the logo. I don't think you say Detroit Rams. I think that's like.
I never said that.
I was definitely pulling for Stafford. I appreciate all the hard work he gave the city, the state. I think he was a great quarterback. I think the organization let him down a little bit, and I was happy to see him win. I'm not also though then going to sell out and act like the Rams are my team forever because Stafford
Right.
plays for him, right? Like,
So here's my concern.
I'm just happy with the football gods. I won $590.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
Scott's
I'm
in
happy
the
too.
money.
I'm good.
Hopefully
Scott's
my
buying lunch
bill-
this week.
It is.
Stafford said it best himself on NFL Network after the Super Bowl. He said that if you've ever played Midwest football, you know how amazing the fans are there. And he gave it out to him. He said that there were tons of Lions fans that were rooting for him because the city did a lot for him and he did a lot for the city. So why not root for him?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. I don't think there's any. My like concern comes in when I've been reading a lot of the. Well, Detroit had a Super Bowl level quarterback, but not a Super Bowl level team ownership. You know,
Well,
whatever.
that's not
They
like
haven't-
that's
that's
been
nothing
like
new.
the last 20 years. We've had arguably the best running back in football.
Right.
We had one of the best receivers in football. Stafford is one of the better quarterbacks of his generation, if not the best. I mean, it's not a surprise.
No, Ashawn Robinson, wasn't he with Detroit too?
He was, yeah.
Because look at the
Yeah.
Rams alone. Detroit could have kept Stafford still. They could have had Aaron Donald, but they chose Ebron instead.
Right.
They had Ashawn Robinson. All these
So-
dudes are winning, and look, that shows
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about,
Right.
though.
I thought Darnold should have won MVP. What do you guys think?
I think so too. This is kind
I
of where
was
we're headed.
Cup. I thought he had a great game,
I agree.
but that last sack and the way that
He's a
defense played in the
monster.
fourth quarter was unbelievable.
He's
so,
a monster. It's not just Stafford. Their team the Rams are amazing. Their defense was unbelievable, and that's a little bit of my hold up on giving Stafford all this.
the
praise.
credit. Yeah.
And Stafford's the first guy to point out everybody else. How do you not love that? But to say that he's a Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback, I mean, I'm not he's a good quarterback. I just don't know.
Trent
He threw
Dilfer
two
won
I
a
was going to
Super
say
Bowl.
Trent Dilfer did too, so.
Right. What'd you say, Billy?
He threw 2 picks that could have cost
He
him
didn't
the
play
game.
great. I don't think he played great.
Yeah, I would say the one
In winning
pick,
time, though,
the one
threw
pick
some
was
dimes.
on
little shaky.
3rd and long,
Yeah.
and it was
A prayer.
might as well have been a punt because it put him at the
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
The other one, I don't believe was necessarily his fault.
He definitely wasn't sharp early.
That
really.
second pick was bad right after Burrow throws a bomb in 2 seconds right
Well,
after that.
by the
and
way, that
scored.
Burrow bomb shouldn't have counted either because the dude totally grabbed
Oh,
Ramsey
it
by
was-
the
Oh
face
yeah, by the
mask.
face mask. Yeah.
I don't know how you missed that one. Those refs suck.
Officiating. Darn officials.
That's true.
But he did him and Cup. Everybody knew Stafford was throwing the ball to Cup, and some of those throws he made in that last
He went
drive
over the middle,
and the
especially.
catches were
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that could sling it in there like he
Down
did.
the
Like,
I mean, fourth quarter down the stretch, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
That
he played
no
good.
look pass to Cup was better than the Mahomes no look pass that they
Oh, yeah.
always talk about.
But I would say you got to give Cincinnati's defense credit though too, because
Yeah.
they were not able to run the ball.
Yeah,
LA
not
could
at all.
not run the ball against them. I was actually surprised.
It
I mean,
was
like,
impressive.
Yeah.
I did
Legit.
think the one call on the linebacker where they called pass interference was a little soft.
Yeah.
And that was on 3rd. Was that 3rd and goal at that point?
3rd and goal, yeah.
He kind of reached around. He did have his
Oh,
hands
yeah,
on him
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
But, man, that happens almost every play.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's like holes.
You
though.
could call holding every play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, they always got their hands on each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
What'd you think? I thought it was a great game though. Like
Yeah.
I watched till the end. I
Entertaining,
don't
yeah.
always watch till the end.
100%.
So.
I give
Yeah.
credit to both those teams. It was
Yeah.
it was a hard fought game.
Were you guys,
He
anyone
got-
else have the audio issues or not? Did anyone else
I didn't have any audio
experience
No,
that?
it was
No, I
blowing up on Twitter too
It
because
was.
he texted me. He's like, "Are you having audio issues?" I'm like, "No, I look online and there was a lot of people with."
Hey, so it happens to the biggest game in
Oh, yeah.
the world and to the biggest networks in the world too, not just Catchmark Sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was thinking of, too.
Yeah.
I'm
I was like, somebody
Cut
must
Billy.
have-
Billy's like, cut me some slack,
I know.
everybody.
I know.
somebody left a cell phone on or something. And
It's- Bill, I figured you'd appreciate this, so we went to church on Sunday to do the stream, and they'd had a wedding in there on Saturday, and so they moved everything around. So we started the stream, and we had no sound. Well, it's because they unplugged the sound and never plugged it back in, and the hub was like, I'm on the floor. It was crazy. We caught it because I pulled it up on YouTube just to check for some reason, and we're like 5 minutes in, and there's no sound, and people are commenting. I'm like, oh. You know, we figured it out, but yeah, no. Super Bowl screws it up sometimes too. It's not always easy.
Well,
to
it's the
know.
biggest. It's the biggest show on TV, and they have audio issues for thousands of people. I mean, it was. I had audio, so I didn't
The
bother
weird
me,
thing
but-
with me is we've got our TV upstairs was fine with it. Down in the man cave and where we were watching the game with my dad and brother, it was just certain times of the game where it would go out, and I'd flip it to a different station.
Are you
It's
streaming it,
perfectly
or
fine.
you got cable?
Well, we do have cables upstairs, and there was some streaming downstairs. But why was every other station working, and not NBC?
It was NBC stream that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mine cut out a couple times though. Like the picture, just for a second or two.
No, but this was like.
I think all the boomers get too sensitive about little sound issues.
There was only like one track. Like multiple tracks would go down,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't hear music. You'd only hear like it was weird.
Yeah, where we were watching it, the volume was down low, so we didn't really hear much of the game. So
Anyways, yeah.
never really.
Did you get a chance to watch that?
We turned it up for the Eminem.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like And you can imagine I was with Dave Fisher and Chuck Hulse and some of those old time guys. They were into the Dre and the
Well, I saw. I'm gonna give it.
That looked like
I'm gonna-
50, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's
Well,
getting up there.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Wayne Holden because Wayne was like, he was active on social media last night. Right? So Wayne was talking about. It was funny because he was clowning the halftime show, talking about how it was geared for. It definitely wasn't geared for middle-aged guys. And I looked into you got the same look I do because I'm like, every one of these rappers other than Kendrick Lamar is literally in their mid 40s, right?
Yeah.
Like all of them. And I'm like, this is not the music my kids listen to,
Right.
right? Like this isn't what the kid, like it was, I was just kind of laughing. I almost commented on Wayne's like, hey dude, these are all old men. Like these are not,
Right.
you know,
Right.
even Eminem, like he's
I
in his
think
40s.
this is how Super Bowls should always be. Like performers should always be selected though. They should target like the majority of the middle chunk. I would say that anybody over the age of 50, probably not a huge fan of this. Anybody under the age of like 18, 20, probably not a huge fan of this.
Yeah.
That middle, like 30 years though, if you're in there.
That's what I was going to ask you guys because I got not an argument, but I made some comments on Twitter with some people.
no.
There were some heavy arguments that because NBC said it was a halftime show for the millennials, and Gen
No,
X flipped their lid. Like it was like
Yeah, but that's because people don't really actually understand where the generation years ends.
That's true.
Like technically, my wife, who's 40, is a millennial.
Yeah.
Like she's an early millennial because she was born in 82, I think, 81, 82. Like, so absolutely they're a millennial. Like we're late Gen Xers, like Tim and I.
You're like-
Scott's a really solid Gen Xer. Like I think he might even be a boomer. You know, so like I just think people are all messed up
I'm a
with where
millennial.
they.
I'm like the last year millennial.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, and it which is weird because most people would be like, "Oh, you're a solid middle of the millennial." No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're at
I'm
the end, and like,
tail end.
yeah. So I think that's why they get it all
Yeah,
messed
because
up.
that's what I was saying. They're like, "Oh, it's not nostalgia for millennials." I'm like, I was born in '83.
Yeah.
The Chronic Up in Smoke tour was the first concert experience I ever went to. Nothing screams nostalgia
How
like
old
that.
were you?
Yeah.
How old were you when you went to that concert, Billy?
The Up in Smoke, I was what, 18? I was,
Oh,
in,
alright.
I was a
So you
senior
were
in
of-
high
you
school.
were of
So,
age,
but
yeah.
you, right? But you could say like there's most of those artists release stuff when you were in college ish.
Yes, I remember Eminem when he first came out. I was a sophomore in college, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd been out of high school a few years.
But Eminem also released albums when I was in high
Yo,
school.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So it's like it really does cover the majority of.
Yeah, no, I thought the cover, like the years was fine, but definitely people don't know where the generations end.
That's true. That's a
Right,
good
like
point.
it's, I think people are all messed up, and they use millennial for like, most people if you ask them would say a millennial is under the age of like 20. You know, that's not
Right,
even
yeah,
close.
right.
Like it's not even close, right?
Oh,
Zach's old. I mean,
Right.
he's darn near 30 now, so.
bald
yeah,
head. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. It really is.
I kind of like the props of the halftime show. I like the
Sweet.
way they move from
Little
room
city.
to room and little
Mhm.
city and like
Yeah.
you know. So
It was cool.
How do you think Elton John would have played on that stage?
Elton John,
Scott
Elton
loves
John
Elton John.
can put on a good show.
He's
dude.
a boomer.
Like but he's definitely a boomer.
75
Scott's a boomer also.
and still playing.
I did. Was it the Stones that were on a few years ago? Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Yep.
They're too old, man. Like the Rolling Stones have great music. It's just too old.
Yeah.
Like
I haven't loved the halftime show in a while, so it was refreshing too.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I looked at Facebook and people are like, "Oh, I turned the halftime show off."
a lot
you
of
know?
people do, but for a lot of people, rap and that kind of music just isn't kind of their thing either. So like,
I sang every
true.
word the whole
Yeah.
way through.
so Kara and I were talking. Do they ever bring Justin Timberlake back?
Yeah.
That's that. She's
My
like,
boy
does
JT
does
was
JT get another shot?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like I'm gonna say no. The NFL is extremely risk averse, but
Well, whose shirt would he rip off now?
his own.
Probably true. I don't. It's tough. You think about who you'd select that like caters to an entire, a broad audience.
Yeah,
That's hard.
I thought the girl who did the national anthem did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
She sounded really great.
Agreed.
Did you guys like the ads?
Ads were pretty good. I didn't I thought they were funny.
So
I don't know. I long for the days of 3 stupid talking frogs
Yeah.
I mean, the ads just weren't. How many electric car ads do you need?
There was a lot. There's a lot of crypto ads too, but like I mean, you can't. There were plenty of beer ads. I like the ad where the guys, the little football players, came out of the screen, trashed the house. I thought that was
great.
pretty good.
NFL's ad.
Yeah, I thought that was a good ad.
I missed the dilly ones from Bud Light.
Dilly.
I like those.
It's all the beer ones were seltzer.
Yeah, I mean that's what's popular right now.
Yeah, I mean things change, Billy. Like,
Bud Light next.
Marino's not still quarterback, buddy.
Yeah.
That's so bad. The last thing I want to touch on is with the Super Bowl is some of the. I can't believe how many people I've heard talking about sports betting. And
Oh, it's huge right now.
it's just nuts. And I occasionally will put on a few dollars here and
Soccer.
there on the game. But with big games, they have so many different types of prop bets, and you bet on what color the Gatorade is when it gets dumped on a coach after the game. You can bet on.
All
And
you're
I have-
playing into are people's addictive.
Yeah.
Like it's
For sure. It turns out that Scott's buying lunch this week.
Well, I didn't, and I don't even bet. That was just squares and different
Yeah.
stuff.
Technically,
like that.
that's
Betting
betting,
still.
Scott.
It is, but
Did you put money down to win money? Yeah, you bet.
How much were the squares?
squares that I got in one pool were $20 each. And then there was like the straight line one where you total your points at the end of each half, and it's like, for instance, mine were 3.
Yeah.
My number was 3, so that was like $50 to get in, but I won $500 total because I won
Wow.
2 halves on that.
That's crazy.
It's pretty good.
It is sweet. Anyway, it just blows my mind how popular it's gotten. I guess it
Yeah.
makes sense. It's just, how it's just at the touch of your phone now. It's right here.
I think it can cause a lot of trouble for people.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I would
think
agree.
it could be really addicting.
It is for sure. But it's also like, I actually enjoy the fact that it gets people involved in watching the game. That's what I think. Like, all my friends are like glued, and I'm like, this is sweet. Like, half the time you're fighting for people like, hey, like, watch the game, quit talking, kind of thing. And
Now they're watching.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know. It's interesting stuff.
Anybody win big other than Scott?
Yeah, I had a buddy win last night. He won. He bet on the PGA event and won. And then he won the first touchdown pass of the game to Odell, and then like the overall winner. Somebody had like a few $100 on each. He walked away with like.
By the way,
$100
did
or
you
something.
see the reaction after the hole-in-one by Ryder at Waste Management, where the crowd was just going nuts?
They were
throwing
going
beer
nuts.
and stuff
Yeah.
all
Oh,
over
yeah.
the place.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Golf
There
is
was
like
2 of them,
getting
one,
more
too, yeah.
popular. I feel like.
No, it's always been popular. It's just
No,
getting
I think it's
crazy.
getting more popular.
Yeah.
Is that like Happy Gilmore?
Just
kinda
getting
stuff?
It was
Crazy.
crazy.
way.
You should see that
It
video.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
So I think to the outside person, it's getting more press, so you're seeing more of it.
But isn't that the same as being?
Nah, because like you go to the Buick Open 25, 30 years ago, and there'd be 50,000 people.
was
at the
packed,
ball. It was
right.
packed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that it's really just
How about it's becoming more mainstream?
yeah. I guess I think they're just getting rowdier. I think it's becoming more like
Becoming more acceptable.
more
evolving.
acceptable to be
Yeah.
a little bit. It's less buttoned up, less tight. I
Yeah.
think
Not so much.
not exactly. Like I think they
More
get
Happy Gilmore crowd.
yeah a little bit honestly. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I would say absolutely. And players are becoming a little bit more accessible. I think they've just done a good job at making it. They've tried, I think, to get rid of that like country club feel to it,
Yeah.
which has some. You might lose some traditional golf fans because of that, but like I think
Yeah,
overall,
but you're also broadening your target audience like insanely. I mean, like.
I think throwing beers on the field or onto the golf course is a little weird, but
That's
like.
not justified. I mean, that's not justified.
But then again, a hat trick in hockey. You know, how long did they throw octopi on the ice? And,
Right.
That's sweet.
You know, like they banned that too, though.
I also
Because they had
love
to go around
every
and clean-
sport. I just
Clean it
think
all
that-
off.
I don't know. See the teddy bears they threw on the
Yeah.
ice in the NHL? You can just like dive on the ice and there's like 6 feet of
I would
teddy
say if you ever get a chance to go to a golf, like a pro golf tournament, go. It's actually it's really quite amazing to watch what these guys can do,
Yeah.
and it's a really like I've said before, you can get really close to the competitors. It's probably the closest you'll ever get to a professional athlete, and
Interesting.
they're better than you ever could even imagine.
Well, I believe
Like,
it.
it's pretty crazy.
I don't question that whatsoever. I think tennis is still pretty formal.
Depends on the
Wimbledon.
tournament. Yeah, they
They're
get
pretty quiet. Like if you listen to like what it sounds like before a serve,
Yeah,
you hear pin drop, dude.
that's true.
I love sports and all. It's just ridiculous. The last topic for the day is live sports. Like so, going to a sporting event, we could touch on like attending concerts and so on. And I wanted to ask this specifically because I know that you've enjoyed with your friends and your kids visiting some stadiums and some cool things around the country. What's so special about being there in person for games and for events, and why do you place value in it for your family as well, for your kids, for your sons?
I like the venues. I like checking out the different venues, and that goes for high school football fields, high school basketball courts, college football stadiums. I just like checking out the
How
different
they
venues.
put it together,
Yeah.
the architecture. Yeah.
I grew up a Michigan fan, and we all kind of know what the home crowds are like at Michigan football games. It's the down in front, so me and some buddies, we started going to the away games, and it was just a lot more enjoyable, right? People weren't yelling at you to sit down. You could be a little more rowdy, and so we just kind of we enjoyed going to the road games more than we enjoyed going to Michigan Stadium. And back in the day, you just kind of roll into town, and we were Michigan, and we're going to win, and then we're going to leave on Sunday, and there was nothing you're going to do about that. And that's changed a little bit over the years. Shane Bays and I, we actually went around the entire Big Ten without seeing Michigan lose. And you guys know nowadays that just doesn't happen anymore. And just kind of, your question about the family, and I took Jackson with me to Maryland this year, and it was just some of the bonds and the friendships that those 4 or 5 guys that we've traveled around to these different venues. I mean, it's just some great bonding time. When we get together, if we go down to the Eagles or over to North Grove, we talk about that stuff all the time, and it's just memories that I want my kids to see, just different ways that they can make those bonds with friendships and memories that they'll have. Because like I said, every time I'm with the Bays brothers or Dan Miner, we talk and we laugh about a road trip back in 2004 to Champaign, Illinois. It's just great stuff, and you get to watch some football on top of it too. So
No, it's the same way the reason why we've gone to several Big Ten basketball tournaments in Indy, or the Big Ten football title game there.
Mm-hmm.
The games are great. It's fun to be around, but it's more so all the other stuff.
right.
Yeah.
I'm bougie. If I'm not sitting,
No.
sideline at something, then I'm not going. And sideline tickets in general are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like,
No, they are. But that proves that there's some value in attending events. And I think that you could actually spectate the game better from home. Like you can actually
that's
watch
it.
the
Mhm.
game
Yeah.
better from home. You can take a virtual tour of the stadium. All this stuff you have access to, but people still have this burning desire to be there. And I have my own opinion as to why, but it's just such an interesting concept to me. That goes to show you that it's not actually watching the event that matters to people. It's the experiences, or it's the feeling. Like when
see,
you're
I'm different. I've been to Notre Dame. I watched Notre Dame play Navy at Notre Dame. I wouldn't go back. I mean, like I don't know. Like I'm weird like that.
You ever been
like,
to a concert?
Yeah.
And you ever been
It's
to
terrible.
You ever been to a concert?
It's absolutely terrible.
You might just not be the guy for this conversation.
I'm not. I'm really not. Like I really like. It's. I would rather go to Notre Dame Stadium empty
Yeah.
and walk around on the field and look at the architecture and walk around the campus. That's the stuff I enjoyed more than the game itself. The seats at Notre Dame are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They might be better now. It was been some time, but they're bench wood seats. Everybody's encroaching on you. You're sitting on top of each other. People are spilling beer on you. Like it was. I'm like, I could do without now. Give me a box or sideline seats at a
Right.
game.
Right.
I
Now we're
think
talking.
that's a whole different thing. I've watched the Lions really close, and watching, you get close enough to see the snap that comes off a Matt Stafford pass
Yeah.
compared to like their backup at the time. I think Campbell was their backup. If I don't remember, I can't remember what the guy's name was, but that's amazing to me, right? Like if I can't get that for a decent price, and I'm gonna watch it all.
But do you think that experience is just kind of worn off? Like, do you remember your first time seeing?
Yeah, no, I remember
seeing
being
this?
disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to a lot of stuff. I mean, like it's not like I haven't gone. I watched Steph Curry play in the Elite Eight in Detroit. Would never go back. Like Ford Field was a terrible place to watch a basketball game. We had great memories sitting at home watching the tournament up until that game, and we got there and we had good seats and you could barely see.
Yeah.
You know, like the stadium was. I mean, people were loud. It was, you know, from an envy perspective, like. I saw Steph Curry play Kansas in the Elite Eight before he was Steph Curry, and he was amazing, right? Like, but from that, like, yeah, I'm different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now the memories, I get it. I get like hanging out with your friends. I get all that.
It's crazy when somebody goes yard at a baseball game or knocks down a tray to go up to at the end of the game, and like you hear the crowd erupt. You can't simulate that anyway.
Yeah,
So-
the roar of the crowd. Like I love the roar of the crowd.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I'd much rather go to a high school game. I would say I love
It's the
going.
same. It's the
No,
same
it's
kind
not.
of thing.
It's not.
Mini scale.
It's not. I mean, I've been to tons of Michigan State games at the Breslin. Great, one of the better places to watch a college basketball game. I like Chrysler. I think Chrysler's too big, right? Like you don't get that
Right.
quite the loudness factor. And you know, Jeff and I went a couple years ago, and we sat right next to the Michigan band. So it was a wonderful experience. But no, I don't know, man. And I keep going back. Like, don't get me wrong. We're going to a Pistons Sixers game with the kids over spring break, right?
Right.
Which just got exponentially more valuable for my kids because Harden's going to Philly, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
so.
But it's maybe a one time a year deal
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
You might not go to 4 Pistons games throughout the
and
year.
But why keep going back though? Because everybody does.
I don't go a lot. Like I will actually pass up. Like I looked, and the price of tickets have really dissuaded me because I might have. Like if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna sit close. So the specific game I picked to go to watch the Pistons, we're close, and I picked the game because it was a Thursday night game, and the tickets I got were affordable, right? Like I could sit close and they were affordable.
Use
So
golf as an example. You love you love
yeah,
to
but I
go
go to the
to
practice rounds. I go to the practice rounds. You
Yeah.
pay less. I can at a golf match. I can stand from me to Scott as close as we're sitting, and I can talk to Phil Mickelson.
Watch somebody super close on YouTube or something. You get what I'm saying? Like
No, but I
trying to
talk to them. I literally talk to the pro golfers. You
get
can't
it.
do that at any.
Good shot,
That's-
Tiger.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
go there to talk to them.
yeah. No, like yeah.
There is nothing better than seeing a game live.
No, I disagree.
I
There's
do it
something
every
to
I do it
right?
every
You have
year. I go to a Dolphins game every year.
Where do you sit?
The last game that I saw, I didn't go during the pandemic, but the last game that I went was versus the Browns, and we had 50-yard line first row, and they were amazing seats.
I love live stuff.
They were
50-yard line first row, and they were probably $600.
They were
a piece.
$580
Yeah,
a ticket.
did I not nail that? So yeah, and I just said that if I'm gonna sit there, it's good.
But I
like,
also did Green Bay 50-yard line, but we were halfway up. But
I've
it
been to
was- it
Lambeau.
was-
But can't you acknowledge that there's a huge demand for live events?
Sure, I think people are stupid though. That's what I think. Like
Yeah,
I
maybe.
so
A lot
but
of
you
stupid people out there.
you gotta understand though. Like I when I went to Western, I went to every single Western sporting event live that I could. We went to hockey games, we went to football games, we went to basketball games. What was the difference? Western stadiums are small. You got a view. I got to watch Bonzi Wells and Wally Zerbiak. I sat right. I mean, like
Yeah, right
it's right there. It's a whole. To me, that's a whole different experience. And if you ask me, my first Pistons game I went to, we went to the Palace of Auburn Hills. I love my dad to death. I appreciate everything he did for me. But we sat the second row from the top, and I remember thinking, this sucks. This stuff, and you don't have the heart to tell your dad who spent probably a week's worth of pay to get you tickets and
Yeah.
drove you down there. But like I just remember thinking, man, this is this is not good. I remember going to Tiger Stadium and watching a baseball game and like thinking like. Now baseball, I will say, is a little bit different. I would rather watch baseball in person than on TV. But Zach thinks I have
I thought
a
the
dislike
Palace was
for
an
it.
awful stadium, though.
the Palace. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I mean,
a bad
I saw Roger Waters there, and it was the most uncomfortable. I'm like squished in the seats. They're not made for bigger guys.
None of them are, Billy.
I fit just fine.
So I'll tell you how Little Caesars looks after spring break, because that's
Yeah.
what we're going to watch. Pistons, Sixers.
That'd be sweet.
My kids have never been to an NBA, a pro NBA game.
Oh wow.
But guys, I mean, like I've seen a lot. I watched the Lakers at the Pistons. I've seen Kobe
Yeah, you've
play
seen
and
a lot.
Shaq and Glenn Rice, and like I've been to a lot of stuff. I kept going back because I kept thinking it would be different.
Get better, right?
You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
I will say, when I sit close, the experience is completely different. But there is a huge. You can't take a family of 5 and sit close.
No.
Right? Like.
Sure, no, I get it.
Like you want to go courtside to Pistons Sixers and sit close, it'll be $5,000
yeah.
for 4 of you, right? Like so you're you know
Pull out the 401k.
it ain't worth that, right? Like
Unless
it's
you
not-
have money, because at that at
money
the-
makes everything better.
at that Browns game, there was a family of 6, like 3 people over. They left at halftime. I'm like, you spent that much money on these
I probably got
tickets?
season tickets, but it's the same way I feel about flying. Maybe I should put it that way. Like I've flown private. I hate flying. I've flown private. I would fly private all day. It wouldn't bother me a bit. You walk out, you drop your bags next to the plane, and you walk on the plane
No, it's sweet.
4 minutes before you get there.
Yeah.
There's no going to the terminal, sitting through security, like waiting. And where you do wait for the 5 minutes, they got like nice things to eat and drink, and like it's a whole different experience. So that like I'm down, like you know. But like when you fly commercial, even if it's business or first class, it's a whole different thing, you know. Like
Flying
so-
is horrible.
yeah. So, but architecture stadiums, I would.
That's
I'm a
just-
huge Indiana basketball fan. I would love to get down and see it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and Duke. I'd love to get to Cameron and just see the stadium. I don't even need to watch a game there.
Right.
I just want to see it.
I just live for the goosebumps, man.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of. I just think it's sweet. Like when the crowd erupts. I mean, that's just like you can't even like
For sure.
explain
Yeah,
it, like,
I
this is what it feels like. You can't do.
yeah,
it.
but that's a crapshoot too. Like you go to a
Oh,
lot of
true.
games and not have that happen.
But you are right with the camaraderie aspect. One of my favorite parts about going every year is meeting at a local bar because I only go to away games, obviously. But when you go and you are with a bunch of Dolphin backers and you take over a bar and you've got like 80, 90 people in this bar all wearing Dolphins jerseys, it's just fun.
But I would say, like, we've had a tradition with March Madness that's kind of died down. It's starting to pick back up with my kids getting a little older now. But for years, me and my friends, so like me, my dad, Brian Syberry, Martin Ryerson, like we had a whole group of guys that would take that first 2-3 days off. And we would have 5 TVs going. We would have a bracket.
Yes.
We would pack into the basement with snacks and like. So when you talk about memories, you don't have to go to a game to make like. We talk about
I agree.
the events that happen in certain times and like, like I don't know, like so you can do it too.
I'm just saying, I've never experienced goosebumps in those type of situations.
Oh, I have. Like watching a game, like where you flip one channel and it's a buzzer beater and your bracket's busted or it's saved and you're like
I guess I get that.
you're
the same.
screaming and
Right.
dancing around the.
Not the same.
Yeah,
Different thrill.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the biggest goosebumps have always been games where you're emotionally invested for some reason.
Right.
So like, again in high school games for me, like, I had goose. I'm gonna bring up Cater again. Gosh, that guy.
You gotta let that guy.
First when he threw
He
that
lives in
like
your head,
when he
right?
threw that like 60-yard bomb that they scored on in the state finals. I think it was the first year they were there. I was at that game, and that was good. To me, that was goosebumps. That would be more so than any pro game I went to because I really just haven't had that happen. I've gone to a lot of pro games and I've never seen that. And now Dawson went to the Wisconsin State game at Michigan State where Michigan State threw the bomb and won the game, and he was at that.
Right.
Now that's it. Yeah, I get it. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen every
I
time.
was there. I was at that game too, but also the high school games. I still get that feeling when you're at the high school state finals that used to be Silverdome, now Ford Field. Even though it's cavernous because you're
There's nobody
the
there.
community's bringing
Yeah,
what
yeah.
4,000
4,000 at the most.
but you still hear that roar. like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
from across the stadium.
Biggest goosebumps I've had. I watched Shelby and Newaygo play in the regional finals in '96. One of the best high school games I've seen, and like it was just electric, and it was at Grand Valley, and it was electric.
That's sweet. Yeah, I
Um,
can see that. I mean, I can see that.
But I've never had that same feeling from a pro or even a college event. So
Yeah.
I've been to concerts that like I feel the same way. Like it's special. It's cool.
is it?
Yeah.
I like concerts.
Yeah.
Who you seen that's special? We're way over, right?
Anybody. It doesn't matter.
Anybody?
It doesn't matter who it is. I don't want to disclose my personal music taste.
You millennials, you're so weird with all
We're
this
talking about music on one of these podcasts.
personal
We gotta
stuff.
change the name. There isn't sports involved anymore.
Oh. No, concerts for me too. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I know.
Like I'm down with like one of those personal concerts where they invite like 100 people and it's in a small
Yeah.
venue, and that I can get down with. Like
I just think it's crazy. Like with being around like 50,000 people and you're all cheering
You
for
just-
the same thing.
I
Or
get-
you're all like wowed by the
I
same
guess
thing.
you like people more than I do.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. It's not about people. It's about the feeling. It's about the bumps, baby.
The bump.
I can't stay, dude. We gotta end this.
All right,
this
let's finish it
podcast.
off.
Thank you, Tim, so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
it was
for
fun.
Sure. It really was. It was a blast.
It was a highlight of my Sunday when I got the text message.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, here I come.
And thank you so much to our sponsors, Van Dyke Mortgage, Shepherd & Shepherd, and North Grove Brewers. We really appreciate the support. And that's going to do it for episode 17 of the Catchmark Sportsnet podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Yep.